Welcome back to Matchday Live. I'm Natalie Pike and I am in the studio in the Etihad, still joined by Darius, Vassell and Nedum Onuoha. Now, before we talk about that first half, in particular that bizarre kind of last 5 minutes there, I just want to take this opportunity to say a huge, big, happy birthday. It is Joyce's birthday today, and Joyce is 101 years old. Joyce is a massive City fan. She's currently in Crossways residential home. She's watching the show, so we all just want to say a big happy birthday from Manchester City for 101 years. Congratulations, Joyce. Big, big happy birthday from us all. Now, 0-0 at half time. Not an ideal game to celebrate your birthday, I don't think, Nedum. What did you make of that first half?
There was very little that was going on, essentially. I think Wolves were solid, City were trying to probe, but there weren't that many clear chances. A few moments which felt like something was going to happen. And then all of a sudden the ref realises it's Christmas, so it's like card time. So he gives a couple to City and then gives a couple to Jimenez. And it's, I don't know, it was very weird. You know, there was obviously the classic clash of heads, which was a bit troubling, but it's a really weird first half. Felt like there was not going to be a lot to analyse there. And then before you know it, there's a huge talking point. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to dive into that. But hopefully the second half is going to be more exciting.
Yeah, that clash of heads meant a really long 7 minutes added on to the end of that first half. As Ali Man said, it felt like it was never going to end that first half there. But then it got really spicy. Darius, could you try and explain to us what's just happened with Jimenez?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I didn't actually see the incident of him blocking the ball, but I know what happened, and I've done it loads of times myself, and I understand why you get a yellow card. I think what's happened with the referees is give something similar earlier on to the City player, so he set himself up where he has to do the same for the Wolves player. Unfortunately for Wolves, they're now a man down. But fortunately for the game, it might open up second half now. I'm sure there'll be strategies in place by Wolves to try and, make sure City aren't able to score. But City have no excuse now but to come out, and try and get that first goal, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, speaking from experience, like this is always a dangerous position because in Wolves, they're not going to change the style of play because they're down to 10 men. They have a set plan and all that stuff. But to go to that red card, the first one I think is a foul, and I think the rest been caught up in the emotion of the occasion because he did start to give out some cards, and I don't think it's really a yellow card on Jimenez. I think there was a foul in there, but it's not that drastic. But the second one, to make a play for the ball, like if he stands there and he hits him, he's not going to get yellow carded. The ref will tell the taker to just calm down, but he played for it, which is what I don't understand considering the fact he just had a yellow card. And as I say, I'm trying to say referees try and say they're impartial, but find any person who can take critique from 50,000 people, it's going to put you under some pressure. So I don't know why he's done that. For his sake, he's probably hoping it doesn't cost his team. But it was a crazy few minutes there.
You think it's because they're not always given those decisions? Because you see it a lot. You see it in matches of people stand in front of the ball and people actually whack it off on purpose, and the referee doesn't always give it. And I think with Jimenez,
it's because he's played for it. He stuck his leg out to block it, which is the thing that blows my... And then to make it worse, just to incriminate himself further, the ball ricochets to one of their players and he starts wheeling off looking for a pass. That's not the way football works, unfortunately. You can play the dumb one where I'm standing in front of it and you just kicked it off. And come on, ref, tell him to calm down.
But disregarded the rules completely.
It's 11-11. It's not a training game. You know what I mean?
And the crowd really did start to get behind the team. It did start to get really loud there. As Nedum says there, Darius, do you think that has been a perfect example of the difference between playing behind closed doors and playing with a crowd? How loud the crowd got when that was happening?
Oh, certainly, yeah, because that is the difference, isn't it? Obviously, it feels different if the crowd aren't there. Whereas the crowd, they're looking for a reason to, get out of their seats. That's what they've come here for. And things like that will get them out of their seats and try and cheer the team on and hammer the opposing team. But Wolves haven't done themselves any favours there by getting a play sent off in such a manner. Obviously, you'd want it to at least be a tackle or something in the game, save a goal-scoring opportunity. That's almost just, handing the game to City. But there's still work to do. There's still 45 minutes to play, and there's points to play for. City obviously favourites now to come away with a victory.
In terms of other incidents in the first half, there's not a huge amount to talk about, Nedum, but you can definitely see why Wolves don't concede many goals and also why they don't score many either.
Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of the way they're defending, they've got the five at the back. They've got three midfielders working exceptionally hard. For most of that, they had Jimenez, who was working hard as well, and Traore was up there working not necessarily as hard as the others, but he was still a threat in himself. But they're saying, come and try and break us down because we're going to be in the right positions, we're going to be competitive. And every time the ball gets towards the final third, you see that they go to a whole new level. But then in terms of attack, you can see they were looking to try and play balls into the spaces for Traore and whoever to run in behind. And when they've managed to do that, they feel like there's been a bit more of a threat there. But the reality of the situation is they've not really had many shots in anger at Ederson. So, there's a theoretical threat there for them. And I can see as a consequence, that's why they've probably not scored a ton of goals. But defensively, they look really solid. And to be honest, going into the second half now, City are even heavier favourites. But it was last year, City versus Leeds. I think the same sort of thing happened, and City ended up losing the game because you can't disrespect any opponent, even if they have a man down. And for Wolves, if they, like I said at the start of the game, it's the first goal. If City score the first goal now, then it probably end up being a comfortable afternoon. But if Wolves get it, you'll see them getting backs against the wall, everything. And, for all the emotion that's existed in the stadium now towards the end of that half, for them, if they get a result, this will feel enormous. This is like a pivotal moment in the season for them. So that's going to be their motivation in the second half. So you've got to go and try and break them down.
Yeah, you do often find that when teams go down to 10 men, they can become harder to play against and harder to score against as well. We already know how good Wolves' defence is. What do you think City's strategy and game plan is going to be in the second half, Darius?
Well, we spoke about it briefly. I was thinking that to get the goal, it might have to come from a set piece. I always say that. They go unnoticed sometimes. Or it might be City on the break. Wolves might find themselves with a spell of possession, and City are able to break and then go and get that goal. And we think once the goal does come, floodgates could open.
Of course, last weekend we were so disappointed with the Liverpool score. They played Wolves. Wolves held out to the 94th minute and then conceded. So for City, have we just got to make sure, Nedum, that we are on fire in the second half, no matter what it takes, from the first minute to the last minute, and just keep going and hope that it comes?
I think it's just about, as was the case with Liverpool last week, the understanding of just winning the game. However it happens. If it ends up not being the best performance in the second half, it won't matter if they win the game, because they're at the top of the league now, and the quest for 3 points on a week-to-week basis is, it's massive, because the teams around you are doing just that. I think titles are won, not necessarily purely through perfect performances like we've seen with City in the past, just through moments where you just find a way that's grit, like it's December. It's like grit month, same for January. At this point here, not everybody's playing the best football, but they find ways to win matches. I think City have historically done that. And this 45 minutes here could really set up a strong December for them if they can find a way.
I imagine you played in a team where you went down to 10 men quite a lot, Nedum, because you played with Richard Dunn so much, obviously.
Hey, Dunny's not here. Dunny's not here, so I couldn't possibly agree with said statement, but I know what you're saying, yes.
What's the difference when you're playing with 10 men?
So for me, when you go down to 10 men, there's a sense from the outside like it's the be-all and end-all. But if you have somebody that's playing up front, say like in theory Traore did there, he could occupy two of the City players, and as a consequence, it's man v man everywhere else. So even though you're down to 10, doesn't mean that there's an overload anywhere, which is going to affect you. But I think sometimes if everybody decides to sag back and this, that, and the other, then it kind of plays into the opposition's hands.
It's a psychological thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're under more pressure now because of this, that, and the other. Well, you might have less possession, but it's still man versus man. You're not outnumbered in key areas because you've still got the same bodies back defending. And for Wolves, it's 5 at the back. It's the 3 in midfield. There are 8 people straight away who immediately have a defensive mindset. That's very, very tough to break down. So I think through my career, going out to 10 men, if you have the right people, the right sort of mentality around you, you accept that you're not going to have the possession, you accept you're not going to have a ton of chances, but the importance of being clinical, both in attack and at the back, just kicks in even more.
Did it ever affect you, Darius? Did you end up going in a team that went to 10 men, and did you end up just being the lone striker?
It does. Again, it's a psychological thing. I've gone to 10 men, and sometimes I thought, wow, manager can't expect me to press now. We've got a man less. That's a mental thing. Like he says, you don't have to think that way. You can just say, you know what, my job now is to occupy 2, even 3 if I can, of these opposition centre-backs. And if I can do that, it means that technically that we're going to be man for man elsewhere on the pitch. It depends how you go about it mentally. And a lot of things can contribute towards that. A lot of the time with me personally, I took the rest and says, you know what, I'm not going to run around.
But he's not going to run around. But the fact is the opposition still have to cater to him. Because if you leave him 1v1 versus anyone, as we saw from the FIFA ratings earlier in the thing, it's pretty quick. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, people are wary, and whoever's back there 1v1 with him will be anxious. So they'll say to someone else, come back here and support me, which is then a huge benefit to your defence because you don't have extra people in and around you.
Now, there was 2 shouts from the crowd for penalties in that first half, Darius. We were watching it. We had the replay. We're not sure either of them were. What did you make of them? Yeah,
there weren't stone walls. You can understand the crowd. You're trying to get someone out of the game. There's not been a goal yet. They want to see a penalty, but I don't think those were stone wall penalties for me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think the Gabriel Jesus one, his legs trying to come over to almost gain a bit of space and things like that. But I didn't. That would have felt soft to me. And then for the handball one,
he's got his arms behind his back, hasn't he?
Yeah, his arms are basically by his side.
He's not trying to stop anything.
You know, it has hit his arm, but I would have been very surprised if they would give a penalty for that. But in some ways, you know, getting the crowd riled and so on. Like as a player, you know, I mentioned before, referees think that they're impartial. As a player, you can also pretend to be impartial, but it's very different when a crowd's telling you to go forward because, you know, find it very hard to turn around and go back. You know, so if the City fans are as motivated as they were in the second half as they were towards the end of that first half, then it should make for a very exciting 45 minutes.
Now, if you'd like to get any questions in to our guests today, the WhatsApp number is on your screen now. Do ask them anything. If you want to pick their tactical brain, if you want to understand anything else that they might be able to explain to us, get those questions in. Now, Darius, we play a game on this show. We usually do it before the match, but we had so much to talk about before the game today that we didn't quite get to it. We spent so much time talking about how fast you both were. So, it's called Cryptic City. You like this one, Nedum?
I like the easy ones, yeah. I've heard someone's tried to go for us this week, though.
Well, it was easy. It was too easy midweek, I have to say. Pretty much everybody got it pretty much. So what you have to do, Darius, is you look at this. There'll be four... This isn't the game, but shortly there'll be 4 pictures on your screen. You've got to say what you see, put the pictures together, and it'll give you the name of a former or current Manchester City player. Everybody at home, you know by now, hashtag Man City is the one that you want. So... Is that Inspector Gadget?
Yeah.
That looks like Inspector Gadget to me.
Are we playing now?
Yes. Say what you see. If you know it, don't tell us, but say what you see.
Inspector Gadget.
That is the dude from Star Wars. That is...
Is it the actor's real name, or what do they want? So...
It's Lula something in Star Wars.
I don't know.
Who's the third one? And then that is a sad emoji with his hand up.
I know who it is.
No, you don't. You just saying it. You just saying it.
I think I do.
You just saying it. Is that Lando? That's Lando from Star Wars.
I know exactly who it is.
That's Inspector Gadget, and then that's Lando from Star Wars.
Okay, so I'm new to the game, so somebody just tell me who this is and let me work it out. No, what's the answer?
I'll tell you.
Are we only doing one of them?
So
yeah, just one.
All 4 pictures put together make the
do
name of one City player.
I know who it is. I know who it is. Do we give clues or not?
You can give clues, yeah, mate.
Well, I'm not going to give any.
That's because he doesn't know it.
Bet.
He doesn't know it. I'm calling him out.
That's a good game, that is. Not, I literally don't know, yeah. Did you just take a picture of it as well? What?
No.
Oh.
He did. He took a picture of it while you couldn't see
and
us.
sent it to someone and asked them who it is.
So he's going to study it throughout the second half and hope that something comes to him. Yay or nay?
I would never.
Okay. Nedum Onuoha doesn't know it. I've called him. Right, the players are in the tunnel. Quickly, gents, what are you expecting for the second half, Nedum?
The expectation is that the players aren't going to take too many chances. You know, I think they're going to try and probe, and hopefully, it's tactically someone will be able to find the moment which will sort of open up the game. But the fact is, if you take chances against this Wolves side, they'll hit you on the break, and before you know it, they're more than happy to defend with 10 men.
Right, we'll be back at full time getting the opinions of the gents straight after the game. Get your commentary now on the City Out with Alistair Mann and Sean Gota. We'll see you soon, Blues.
So everybody out for the start of the second half. Everybody, that is, of course, except Raúl Jimenez, who was sent off in stop.